my backup third baseman was Scott Cooper and first baseman. I brought him up to the minor leagues. He made the All-Star team because he played in all those, played for Wade. So we're getting down to August. Clemens has got a 2.8 ERA, somewhere in that area, but he's like 9-10. This is when he had the elbow and the growing. But he was third in the American League in ERA, which is a big deal. He's already won 3 Cy Young, something like that. So Boggs is playing third. We're playing, I can't remember, runners at second, third, 2 outs, routine ground ball, and Wade boots it. I mean, I played third base, I've been on game, and he just completely booted the ball. 2 runs scored, they're unearned, because E5 is on the board. Now, when I played, it was John Kiley. You didn't see it on the board. John Kiley would say on the loudspeaker, E5, E3. I mean, he would tell you that it was an error. So, you know, I can't remember if we won the game or lost. It doesn't matter, but it was clearly, you know, 2 unearned runs. So Danny Darwin is my Saturday night pitcher. And Danny Darwin and Clemens are both from Texas, and Danny Darwin was one of my favorites. And I managed Danny Darwin, and I faced him, and he was mean. I mean, if you looked at him the wrong way when you stepped in the batter's box, you might be able to get ready to wear him on the elbow. But he was a teammate. He was a good team, and about as country as they come. But he was pitching, and when Danny pitched, that night he pitched, he would go to the ballpark at 12 o'clock, noon. And he would, this is what he did. He would put a towel on and nothing else in the locker room with his hat on. And he would take his greenie, cigarette, cup of coffee, and he would just walk around the locker room, you know, just spending the day, because he's pitching that night at 7:30. So I usually get there at 1, do my lineup. We start hitting around 4. And so I get there, Danny comes in and sits down, and he's got a cigarette, and he got nothing on but a towel. He said, Butch, he said, I'm gonna tell you something right now. He said, when Wade Boggs gets to the ballpark tonight, I am gonna whip his ass. Right out there in the middle of the locker room. And he said, there's nothing you can do about it, and there's nothing Lou Gorman can do about it, nothing Haywood Sully, but I'm gonna kick his ass. I said, what's going on? He said, oh, because I didn't allow a newspaper in my house. I didn't listen to the talk shows. It's a no-no when you play or manage your boss. He said, oh yeah, you don't get a newspaper, do you? I said, no. He said, well, you know, Boggs had that hit, that arrow changed to a hit. I said, no way. So I called Charlie Scoggins, scorekeeper, and he'd been there forever. And I said, I need to talk to you. And this was 2 o'clock, 2:30, before any of the players really got there. And he came in, and I said, did you change that arrow to a hit? He said, I did. I said, what, Charlie? I said, that's a routine, clearly a routine error. Not routine, it's clearly an error. He just botched it. He said, well, he told me that the ball took a bad hop and he couldn't make that play. And I said, so that's the reason you changed it? Well, he's won 3 gold gloves, Butch. I said, shit. Clemens has got a 2.87 ERA. He said, well, I've already changed it. I can't think about it. So now I always lie. Because I know if he whips his butt out there in the locker room, it's going to be all over, because there's usually 8 or 10 beat writers at every game. It's going to be all over the press. So I'm a rookie manager. So Wade comes in, you know, the parking lot, you go down the hall, comes around, my office is here, down the hall, the wives lounge is here, and then the locker room's here, and I got a door that looks in the locker room. Wade comes in, it's a 7:30 game now. Wade comes in, we're already finished for bat practice, he comes in about 5:30 into my office. He looks like crap. And he drank more Miller Lite than anybody ever seen. He loved it. And I could tell he had quite a few. And he came in, I'd already took him out of the lineup. He came in, he said, I gotta see Roger. He said, I gotta straighten something out. I knew what he was talking about. And said, well, when Roger, the night after he pitched, Roger's routine was he did his running. He liked to run around, he liked to run the city of Boston, the streets, you know. I don't know if you're a Red Sox fan, you remember, but that's what Bill Lee used to do. Bill Lee used to do it, but remember, he always got hit by a cow. At least he said he did. It's probably because he was smoking weed while he was running. I don't know. So, Roger does his running, and so he said, I'm going to be in the wives' lounge, and I just bring Roger in there. And I said, okay. So Roger comes in. I said, I went out and got Roger, and Darwin's just sitting there smoking a cigarette with his coffee. He's waiting on Wade. Now this is about 6:30. And usually somewhere around there, usually the position players are out 30 minutes before the game, stretching, doing a little running. And the start pitchers, usually 45 minutes, they're out long tossing, getting ready to warm up in the bullpen, especially when you're the home team. And so I get Roger, he goes in, and Wade's sitting in there, he said, and Roger's just standing at the door, he said, Roger, I did not have that error changed to a hit. But I knew he was lying right there, because I'd already talked to Charlie Scott. He said, I did not have that error changed to a hit. He said, we've been together and teammates too long, and been through too much. I just want you to know that I did not do that. And Roger said, wait, I don't care. He said, the year we've had right now, he said, I don't care. We turned around and walked out. So, okay. That's done, but I gotta go, and we gotta figure out what's going on with Danny, so. I go and sit down at the desk, and I figured Danny's already, you know, the timing wise, I thought maybe he had already gone out to the field. It won't happen before the game. So I get in my desk, and Rich Gale standing in the door, and I went out and looked in the locker room, and all the players are in their locker. Not one position player has gone on the field. And we're talking about 6:45, 10 to 7. Game's at 7:30. Darwin hasn't even got to the bullpen. And he got to walk down the steps and down the runway. And so I looked at Rich and said, what's going on? He said, so Danny's got, his jacket, Red Sox jacket on, his August, it's hot. He got his jacket on, he's got a cigarette in his mouth, a cup of coffee, and his hat turned this way a little bit. And he's walking over, and Rich is over with him, and Boggs is sitting in front of his locker. I mean, he's like a whip dog. But nobody liked him. His teammates just didn't like him at all. Danny goes over and stands beside him, and he gives Rich's cup of coffee, and he goes, boom! Right in his ribs. Smoked it. He said, let me tell you something, you SOB. Nobody here likes you. Nobody here wants to be your teammate. We know you're a free agent, and you are gonna go somewhere else. We don't care. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. Wherever you are next year, and I pitch against you, I'm gonna hit you right in the effing head. That's what it's called. He goes on out. Yankee, Boggs signs with the Yankees. End of May, our first trip into Yankee Stadium. Danny Darwin's pitched that night. Buck Showalter, I'm talking to Buck behind the batting cage during batting practice on the field. I said, your third baseman play tonight. Buck and I go way back. I said, your third baseman play tonight. He said, I play him. He said, I give him days off against left-handers, but he always plays. Darwin's pitching right. I said, yeah. I said, I'll bet you a $100 bill that he does not play tonight. He said, what are you talking about? I told him the story. Sure enough. Dugout before the game, I put my lineup card on the dugout wall, and I look over the dugout, and Buck's doing the same thing, and he went. Took himself out of the game. So